want to thank everybody for praying for me. I was in the hospital.
Ray J hit the stage on Valentine's Day looking like something straight out of a movie. Blood streaking down his face, a heart monitor strapped to his chest, and whispers flying that his heart was barely working. The man looked like he was performing on pure adrenaline. Despite everything, Ray J was determined to put on a show to remember, but the performance didn't come without a price. The lights, the crowd, and that eerie heart monitor beeping through the night sent shockwaves across social media.
My heart's only beating like 25%, but as long as I stay focused and stay on the right path.
It all went down on February 14, 2026, inside the historic Shreveport Municipal Auditorium in Louisiana. Born William Ray Norwood Jr., the 45-year-old R&B icon walked into the spotlight for an intimate Valentine's Day concert that fans would never forget. The event, titled Why Kelly Price and Friends, was stacked with R&B royalty. Kelly Price headlining alongside Bobby V, Sammy, 702, Jay Holiday, Sunshine Anderson, and last-minute addition, Pleasure P.
I can't work out. Don't ever hit me like that.
Doors opened at 7 p.m., with the show kicking off at 8. Tickets sold through Ticketmaster promised a romantic, soulful night of non-stop R&B hits, the perfect vibe for couples celebrating love in a cozy venue. Not a massive arena, but a small, up-close setting where every note and emotion could be felt. Then came the moment that had everyone frozen in disbelief. Ray J stepped onto the stage in a bright orange jumpsuit and dark shades, looking bold and unbothered. But within minutes, the crowd noticed something strange. Was that blood on his face? The internet exploded with clips, comments, and questions flying faster than the beat. Ray J was one of the night's main acts, and the audience greeted him with love and nostalgia, the kind reserved for an artist whose songs like One Wish had soundtracked their heartbreaks and their Valentine's nights for years. He smiled, danced, and gave his all, leaning into the warmth of the room. But the cameras caught something wrong, something no amount of stage presence could hide.
I literally shout out to Sheila holding me down in the hospital. I'm not gonna do that.
Multiple fan-recorded clips began surfacing online, and what they showed was chilling. A deep red liquid, looking exactly like blood, was sliding from beneath Ray J's sunglasses, dripping along the right side of his face. This wasn't one of those blink and you'll miss it moments. It stayed there, visible for everyone to see, as he kept moving across the stage, handing out red roses to women in the front rows and charming the crowd with smooth R&B classics. In one clip, he even adjusted his sunglasses for a second, and it looked like the red liquid was coming straight from his eye area. The crowd gasped, but Ray J didn't flinch. He didn't wipe it away, didn't make a single comment, didn't even slow down. He just kept singing like nothing was wrong, pouring his soul into every note, while the audience tried to figure out if they were watching art or a real emergency. Then came the next jaw-dropping moment that had everyone whispering. Mid-performance, Ray J slowly unzipped the top half of his bright orange jumpsuit, revealing his bare chest, and there it was, plain as day, a large medical patch on the upper left side of his torso. Fans instantly recognized it as a heart monitor, the kind used to track heart rhythms in real time. Major outlets like Complex, Yahoo, and Hindustan Times quickly picked up the story, reporting that it looked like a Holter monitor or a similar cardiac device. And get this, Ray J didn't hide it. He sang right through the moment like the device was just another part of his act, turning a medical warning into part of the show. But beneath the lights and cheers, it was clear this wasn't just performance art. It was a man pushing through serious health struggles.
She speaks Farsi every time I'm in it.
You're amazing.
I'm gonna go upstairs and...
Before the concert, Ray J had actually posted about the heart monitor on Facebook. He wrote that he had it strapped to his chest, but still felt blessed to be outside with the people. Looking back now, that post feels more like a quiet confession than a celebration, a subtle message that he knew he was taking a dangerous risk, performing while his heart was literally being watched in real time. The biggest question fans couldn't stop asking, and that even medical professionals started debating, was simple but serious. Should a man who was just 5 weeks out from a heart failure hospitalization have been performing at all, especially in a high-energy R&B set, under hot lights, in front of hundreds of people cheering his name. The footage spread online like wildfire, not slowly, but instantly. Within hours, millions of views piled up across Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. The reaction split fast into two camps, and the internet was at war. Most people were terrified and heartbroken, flooding comment sections with messages like "Prayers up for Ray J" and hashtags like "Pray for Ray J" and "Saw Ray J" trending everywhere. Fans made it clear, this didn't look like entertainment. It looked like a man in distress, performing through pain right before their eyes. Medical voices soon joined in, breaking down what they saw in the clips. Nurses and health experts in live chats speculated that the bleeding from his eye could signal something serious, maybe cirrhosis, advanced liver issues, or even blood vessel damage caused by long-term high blood pressure. Nothing had been confirmed by Ray J or his doctors, but the internet's diagnosis frenzy only grew louder by the hour. Then came the other side, the skeptics. Some people didn't buy it at all, calling the blood a stage stunt. They said it looked too theatrical, maybe fake blood or a deliberate prop meant to spark controversy and go viral. Others labeled it performance art or a health scare flex, pointing out that Ray J had a history of pulling wild, attention-grabbing moves right when the spotlight was fading. They argued the timing was too perfect, too cinematic to be just a coincidence. But the skeptics also pointed out one undeniable fact that complicated everything. Ray J never collapsed, he never called for help, and no paramedics rushed the stage before or after the show. To them, that single detail changed the whole story. Was it a breakdown caught live or a carefully orchestrated spectacle? Ray J didn't just finish the show, he owned it. He powered through his entire set like nothing was wrong, performing hit after hit with the same passion fans have loved for years. By the end, he looked full of energy, smiling, chatting with fans, and reassuring everyone he was perfectly fine. The blood that once ran down his cheek, gone, not a trace left. No medics rushing in, no reports of him needing help backstage. It was as if the red streak and the heart monitor strapped to his chest were just part of the act, props in the strange theatrical rebirth of Ray J's career. But for the skeptics, that calmness was the evidence. They argued that no man with a heart functioning at just 25% could dance, sing, and hand out roses for an hour without collapsing. Something about the whole thing didn't make sense to him. Still, one fact couldn't be denied. The heart monitor was real, and it wasn't for show. That device matched perfectly with everything Ray J had already shared about his health struggles in the weeks before. Revelations that had already shaken the entertainment world and filled headlines from TMZ to NBC News. What went down in Shreveport wasn't just some random shock moment. It was part of a much darker story. It came exactly 5 weeks after Ray J had been rushed to a Las Vegas hospital, where doctors reportedly gave him a diagnosis that shattered his image of invincibility once and for all. The blood might have been up for debate, but that heart monitor told a very real story, a story of pneumonia, heart failure, 8 different medications, and a prognosis that used the word months. That's when everything took a heartbreaking turn. As of February 16, 2026, Ray J still hasn't made a direct public statement about what happened on that Shreveport stage. Not about the blood, not about the patch, not about why he chose to perform under such risky conditions. Instead, he's continued posting on social media like nothing happened, sharing regular updates, keeping up appearances.
Now, the footage from his Valentine's Day concert and the earlier hospital clips have merged online into one haunting storyline that fans can't stop analyzing. The image is unforgettable. Ray J, a man performing with a failing heart, possibly bleeding from his eye under stage lights, pushing himself beyond the limits of his own body. Every new post, every public sighting only fuels the growing concern that the line between his determination and his physical breaking point is getting dangerously thin. 25% and dropping. On January 6, 2026, the headlines exploded. TMZ dropped a bombshell report revealing that Ray J had been rushed to a Las Vegas hospital with severe pneumonia and intense heart pains. The R&B star underwent X-rays and an echocardiogram as doctors scrambled to assess the full extent of the damage. Soon, footage surfaced showing Ray J lying in a hospital bed, hooked up to monitors, oxygen tubes, and IV lines, wearing a blue cap as medical staff ran cardiac tests around him. Those clips spread across social media like wildfire, turning into the viral hospital footage that defined the first month of 2026. But this wasn't his first brush with death. Back in October 2021, Ray J had already been hospitalized in Miami with a brutal case of non-COVID pneumonia. Due to pandemic restrictions, he was placed in a hospital wing shared with COVID-19 patients, a terrifying situation that left him fearing the worst. He later told TMZ that he genuinely thought it was over. That earlier episode had left him weak and dependent on oxygen support, with a long recovery ahead. Still, what happened in January 2026 was on another level, a completely different beast. This time, the pneumonia didn't just target his lungs, it exposed something much darker beneath the surface. Doctors soon realized that the illness had either triggered or revealed a catastrophic heart condition, one that had been quietly developing for years, hidden under the chaos of fame, late nights, and constant pressure. Around January 25th to the 28th, Ray J went live on Instagram and opened up about everything, showing raw emotion as he spoke directly to his fans. During the stream, he revealed something absolutely shocking. His heart was functioning at only 25% capacity. He said it so casually, almost in passing between business talk and jokes, that it took viewers a second to realize the gravity of what he had just said. But medically, it was staggering. For reference, a healthy heart's ejection fraction sits between 55% and 70%. At 25%, doctors classify the condition as severe heart failure with reduced ejection fraction, a dangerous level that falls under an ACC heart failure guidelines. In plain terms, it meant his heart was barely keeping up, and without aggressive treatment, the risk of serious complications, even death, was high. Ray J didn't shy away from the truth either. He took full accountability, admitting that years of destructive choices had led him to this point. He talked about the wild days at the height of his fame, drinking 4 to 5 bottles of alcohol a day, popping pills like Adderall, and living in a non-stop loop of bad habits and stress. He was brutally honest about the toll that lifestyle had taken, both on his body and his future, a confession that stunned even his most loyal fans. He admitted that years of non-stop partying had pushed his body past the point of repair. Ray J said he believed the damage was deep, describing one side of his heart as black and done, not medical language, but powerful enough to make people freeze. It was his way of explaining what doctors had shown him through scans and tests, and the fear in his voice made it clear this wasn't exaggeration for attention. He confessed that he had felt untouchable for too long, living like consequences would never catch up to him, until suddenly they did, all at once. The prognosis he shared sounded terrifying. Ray J told fans that doctors had warned him his time might be limited, using heavy phrases like, "2027 is definitely a wrap for me," and openly talking about possibly having only months left to live. Those words spread fast. NBC News reported on it. People magazine ran a full feature. Billboard broke down the health crisis. USA Today published its own report. Page 6 highlighted his claim that he might not live past 2027. The mix of leaked hospital footage from TMZ and his emotional Instagram Live confessions kept his name trending non-stop through late January and into February 2026. Then on January 29th, in a follow-up interview with TMZ, Ray J went even deeper into the details of his treatment plan. He revealed he was taking 8 different medications every single day. Among them was Entresto, a well-known heart failure drug designed to reduce strain on the heart and improve survival rates. He also listed Jardiance, originally created for diabetes, but now widely used to lower the risk of hospitalization and death in heart failure patients. Lipitor was part of the mix too, helping manage cholesterol levels. 5 other medications weren't publicly named, but the sheer number made one thing clear. This wasn't a minor health scare. It was a full-scale medical battle. Hearing him calmly list off powerful prescriptions while talking about limited time left hit fans hard. It wasn't gossip anymore. It was a man publicly fighting for his life. One pill, one doctor visit, one heartbeat at a time. Doctors didn't play around with his recovery plan. Ray J was placed on strict bed rest. No alcohol, no smoking, 0 slip-ups allowed. Every move had to be careful, controlled,
and approved. On top of that, doctors began preparing him for a possible pacemaker or even an implantable cardioverter defibrillator, a serious device designed to stop deadly heart rhythm issues in patients with dangerously low ejection fractions. The final decision was set to come after more follow-up testing, but just the discussion alone showed how critical his condition really was. About 2 weeks into this health crisis, his sister, Brandy Norwood, stepped in as his rock. Ray J publicly gave her credit for covering both his medical and personal bills for the rest of 2026, a gesture that clearly hit him deep. In multiple videos, he said Brandy paid everything for the year and called it crazy, sounding almost stunned that she would carry that weight for him. You could see the emotion in his face. This wasn't industry talk. This was family stepping up when things got real. The bond between Ray J and Brandy has always been strong. They starred together in the 2010 reality show Brandy and Ray J, A Family Business, and have supported each other publicly for years. But this moment felt different, heavier. This wasn't about music or TV deals. This was a big sister stepping in because a younger brother's health was failing, and the financial pressure of staying alive had become overwhelming. Reports from outlets like the Los Angeles Times and USA Today confirmed that the entire Norwood family rallied around him. His parents, Sonia and Willie Norwood, were by his side, attending doctor appointments, helping with daily care, and making sure he wasn't facing this fight alone. It was a full family effort, all hands on deck, trying to steady him during the scariest chapter of his life. But even while revealing these heavy truths, Ray J's personal world still felt chaotic. During the same Instagram live session where he told fans his heart was functioning at just 25%, a woman identified as Sheila, who had reportedly been by his side during recovery, playfully tapped him while showing off boxing moves she'd been learning. On any other day, it might have been a harmless joke, but in that moment, his reaction said everything. He flinched hard, instantly protective of his chest, and the mood shifted fast. What should have been a light laugh suddenly felt uncomfortable, a sharp reminder that his body wasn't built for rough play anymore. One small hit looked like it carried real consequences, and viewers could see just how fragile he had become. The playful punch didn't just surprise him, it visibly shook him, and his reaction wasn't fake anger for the camera, it was real distress. He immediately said, "It can't work out. Don't ever hit me like that again," his voice tense and serious. For a man whose heart was operating at just 25%, that kind of impact wasn't small. He explained that the hit threw off his balance and even affected the left side of his thinking for a moment. That's not something you brush off. When your heart is pumping at a fraction of its normal strength, blood flow to the brain can already be compromised. Even minor physical contact can feel magnified, destabilizing in ways a healthy person might never understand. What looked playful on screen suddenly carried a heavy undertone. This wasn't about pride. This was a body struggling to keep up. He quickly said he needed to call his doctor, Dr. Gold, in the morning. He mentioned taking his medication right away. Then, almost like nothing happened, the live stream shifted back to regular talk, business updates, casual chatter, normal vibes. But for viewers who tuned in because of his health confession, the message was loud and clear. Something was not right, and he knew it. Every interaction now looked different. Every tap on the shoulder, every burst of energy, every laugh felt like it came with risk. The stakes had changed completely. And that's why this story refuses to die down online. To really understand why the internet has latched on to Ray J's health crisis with this level of intensity, you have to look at what he built before his heart ever started failing. This isn't someone quietly stepping away from the spotlight. Ray J has been part of American entertainment for almost 30 years. Music, television, film, tech ventures, he's touched all of it. And against the odds stacked against many early 2000s R&B artists, he didn't just survive the industry, he flipped his fame into a business empire, reportedly worth tens of millions. That kind of legacy makes every hospital update feel bigger, heavier, and harder to ignore. Ray J stepped into the industry as a kid. At just 8 years old, he was already appearing in commercials. By the early 90s, he landed acting roles on The Sinbad Show from 1993 to 1994. Later came guest spots on Moesha, his sister Brandy's hit series, and shows like One on One. He wasn't an outsider trying to break in, he was raised in it. Growing up in Carson, California, he was surrounded by music and performance from day one. His father, Willie Norwood, was a gospel singer. His mother, Sonia Norwood, managed careers and understood the business. His sister, Grammy-winning singer and actress Brandy Norwood. His first cousin, Snoop Dogg. Entertainment wasn't a hobby in that household. It was in the bloodline. By 1997, at just 16 years old, Ray J dropped his debut album, Everything You Want. The single, Let It Go, climbed into the top 40 on the Billboard Hot 100, putting him firmly on the map. He wasn't just Brandy's little brother anymore. He was building his own lane, one hit at a time. And that rising momentum would eventually turn into something far bigger than anyone expected. Then came This Ain't a Game in 2001, featuring Wait a Minute with Lil' Kim, and that's when things really shifted. The album debuted at number 21 on the Billboard 200, proving Ray J wasn't just a familiar name, he was a real commercial force in R&B. That moment stamped him as legit in an industry that doesn't hand out respect easily. By the mid-2000s, Ray J had leveled up from industry insider to full-blown mainstream presence. In 2005, he dropped One Wish, and it took off like crazy. The track peaked at number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100 and sold over 400,000 copies in the US alone. Fans and critics later called it a millennial R&B classic, one of those songs that instantly brings back late-night radio vibes, slow dances, and emotional voicemail messages. It became the heartbeat of his album Radiation, which debuted at number 48 on the Billboard 200. Then, in 2008, he hit another peak with Sexy Can I featuring Young Berg. That record exploded, climbing all the way to number 3 on the Hot 100 and earning double platinum certification. It wasn't just a hit, it was everywhere. The momentum pushed his album All I Feel to debut at number 7 on the Billboard 200, marking his highest album chart position ever. It even topped the independent and R&B charts, showing he could dominate multiple lanes at once. Across 5 studio albums, Ray J built a catalog that still brings in streaming royalties years later. These weren't random singles, they were era-defining tracks that locked him into the culture. Around 2004 or 2005, he launched his own label, Knockout Entertainment, giving himself creative and financial control that many artists from his era never secured. That move quietly changed the game for him behind the scenes.
In 2009, he pivoted again, this time into reality TV with For the Love of Ray J. The show pulled him into personality-driven entertainment and introduced him to an entirely new audience. He followed that with Brandy and Ray J, A Family Business in 2010, giving fans a closer look at the Norwood family dynamic. Later, he appeared on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood and even Celebrity Big Brother UK in 2017. Each appearance kept his name buzzing and his face recognizable. Even people who had never heard One Wish still knew who Ray J was because of those shows. He stayed visible, stayed talked about, and stayed connected to pop culture conversations. And just when people thought they had him figured out as an R&B singer turned reality star, he stepped into a whole new arena, tech entrepreneurship, and shocked everyone who underestimated him. Ray J didn't just stay in music, he stepped into tech and built something serious. In 2017, he co-founded Raycon through his company Raytron, launching a direct-to-consumer audio brand focused on wireless earbuds and headphones. The move shocked people who only saw him as an R&B name. Within the first year, Raycon reportedly pulled in $10 million in sales. Then it scaled fast, tens of millions annually. And over time, reports and interviews claimed the brand surpassed $300 million in cumulative revenue. That's not a side hustle, that's a real business empire. He didn't stop there. Ray J also launched Scoot e-bike, an electric bike and scooter company that caught major attention. In 2019, he sold it in a multi-million-dollar deal to Canadian company Loopshare. Suddenly, the narrative shifted. The same guy once boxed in as Brandy's little brother had built a portfolio that outpaced many of his musical peers. Estimates place his net worth around $14 million, with some sources pushing that number closer to $20 million. Quietly, strategically, he had leveled up beyond the stage. And now, at 45 years old, all of that, the music catalog, the reality shows, the tech companies, the brand deals, the wealth,
exists alongside a heart functioning at just 25%. That contrast is what makes this story hit so hard. A businessman with multiple revenue streams fighting a body that's struggling to keep up. What's wild is that even while revealing his diagnosis, Ray J couldn't turn off the hustle. During the very same live stream where he told the world his heart was operating at 25%, he also made major business announcements. The health confession doubled as a launch event. He revealed that his Tronics network was relaunching as a dating show-focused platform powered by the Zeus network. He praised Zeus heavily, calling it a dominant force for OT streaming for urban entertainment. The shift was almost hard to process. One minute he's saying his heart is black and done. The next minute he's hyping up for the love of Ray J 3 and talking about launching 15 new dating shows within 2 months. He shouted out Zeus founder Lemmy, praised the platform's disruption of traditional television, and positioned Tronics as a dating show-only vertical heading into 2026 and 2027. The same year he had just told fans doctors warned might be his last. The contrast was unreal. From the January hospitalization to the emotional Instagram lives to the Valentine's Day performance in Shreveport, the internet has been locked in on every chapter. Reactions have swung between deep concern and sharp skepticism. Most fans flooded his comments with support. Messages like "Heart at 25% is no joke" filled his pages. Hashtags such as "Pray for Ray J" and "Get Well Ray J" spread across Instagram, X, and TikTok. Some followers even shared their own experiences living with heart failure or low ejection fraction, offering hope and survival stories to lift him up.
But even with all the love pouring in, the bigger picture still hangs heavy. A mogul with multiple businesses, still pushing new ventures, still announcing expansions, all while managing a heart condition doctors classify as severe. That tension between ambition and physical limits is what keeps people watching closely. Some fans applauded his honesty. They said Ray J speaking openly about substance abuse and the long-term damage it caused was real accountability. To them, this wasn't a stunt. It was a warning from someone living with consequences he can't rewind. They saw a man admitting his past choices caught up with him, and they respected that level of transparency. But not everyone bought that version. A loud minority accused him of turning a health crisis into promotion. Comments like, "Is he launching a new show during a medical announcement?" started trending. Others labeled the entire situation a sympathy play, and those takes spread fast across tabloid blogs and repost pages. The timing raised eyebrows too. Some critics linked his health revelations to ongoing custody disputes and personal legal drama, suggesting the emotional confession conveniently shaped public perception. What fueled the doubt even more was the way he kept moving. He was supposedly on strict bed rest, yet he continued going live, negotiating deals, announcing production schedules, and mapping out multiple dating shows. To skeptics, that didn't align with someone facing a life-threatening prognosis. They argued the narrative felt split, one side describing a man confronting mortality, the other side showing a businessman still in full hustle mode. Major outlets treated it seriously. The Los Angeles Times and Rolling Stone covered the situation with gravity, framing it as a public figure openly grappling with a severe diagnosis. Vibe reported in detail on his heart function claims and medical disclosures. Importantly, no official statements from his family or medical providers have publicly contradicted what he shared. Brandy's documented financial support, the TMZ hospital footage, the detailed medication list, and the heart monitor visible during that Shreveport performance all point to one clear fact: something serious is happening. Whatever parts remain debated, the situation itself does not appear imaginary. His condition, by his own account and supported by visible evidence, is real enough to demand attention. Then there was one quiet moment that cut through all the noise. Near the end of a long live stream, after the business pitches, after the network shoutouts, after the chaotic interruptions, Ray J simply said, "I'm gonna go upstairs and heal." No hype, no branding, no promo, just that. That line felt different. It didn't sound like a mogul or a reality star.
It sounded like a tired man admitting his body needs something his ambition rarely allowed. Rest. Not expansion, not new deals, not another rollout, just time to recover. As of February 16, 2026, Ray J remains in what can fairly be described as an active, carefully managed medical crisis. He is reportedly on 8 medications targeting heart failure, cholesterol, and overall cardiac protection. Doctors are still evaluating whether he will need a pacemaker or an implantable defibrillator, a decision that carries serious weight.
And yet, 5 weeks after being told his heart was functioning at only 25%, he stood on a stage, performed a full concert, wore a visible heart monitor, and pushed through under bright lights with the world watching. That contrast between medical caution and public performance is what keeps this story impossible to ignore. So far, there has been no official medical update beyond what Ray J has shared himself and what TMZ confirmed in its interviews. No detailed statement from doctors, no formal press release clearing the air. His family, led by Brandy's financial support and his parents showing up to appointments, continues to stand close around him. And the fans? They're still flooding timelines with prayers and messages of hope every single day. But the real question, hovering over every headline, every reaction video, every comment section, and every viral clip, is simple and heavy at the same time. Is it really over for Ray J? Medical research says a 25% ejection fraction is serious, but it is not automatically a final sentence. With strict medication, major lifestyle changes, and careful long-term heart monitoring, some patients stabilize and even improve over time. The science leaves room for hope. But here's the tension nobody can ignore. The man who stepped on a Valentine's Day stage in Shreveport wearing a heart monitor, the man who appeared to bleed from his eye and still finished the show, the same man who talked about his possible death timeline while launching new dating shows, that man does not move like someone slowing down. If recovery requires discipline, rest, and complete commitment to medical guidance, then the biggest question might not be about his diagnosis at all. It might be about whether Ray J is truly willing to pause the grind long enough to let his heart heal. That gap between what doctors recommend and what he chooses to do could decide everything. What do you think? Is this a comeback story in the making, or are we watching something more serious unfold in real time? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you've been following this story, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs the full breakdown.